Welcome to Mailbag, the podcast that thinks it's a 10 but wouldn't get above a 4 in the Echo. I am joined on the bench today by Paul Daly, Matt Barry and Jack Carlisle. How's things, gents?
Great, thanks, Les.
That good. By complete silence. It's Saturday morning. We're all fretting about the game later on.
Yeah, I'm all right, brother. I had me jab yesterday, so that's been kicking my ass all morning and putting me in a yeah, it's just slightly putting me in a sort of somber mood already ahead of the game tonight.
Well, thanks for making it on anyway, mate.
Anytime.
All things considered. Right, we will go into the hot topics. Fancy you might get this first one, Jack. So, Everton players at the ready. What's the worst thing there could be a shortage of?
Craig Short.
Was he any good? I can never make my mind up. No.
I think I thought he was terrible. I barely recall the match that much during that time because I tried to blot it out, even if it was a 9. But from my dad telling me, like when I was younger, he was just poor.
Yeah, because I remember him doing all right with Dave Watson, but just an overwhelming feeling that he was a bit shit. I think
that's a fair assessment of him, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what story this is from?
Is it to do with the shortage of vaccines?
It is.
True.
It is. And Worcester's not on Whittle because Jack's got his.
Go ahead, Jack.
Vaccinated toffees. Go ahead then, mate. What's the worst thing there could be a shortage of, do you reckon?
Well, I think there are a few things to look at here. I mean, the obvious one for me for the past 12 months while we've been in lockdown, a terrible shortage for me would be cans in general. But if I'm to think of it a little bit deeper, I would probably say a shortage of colour in the world, because the world's been quite a grim place for the last 12 months anyway. I think a world without colour would be quite shit, really. And if you want to go even deeper than that, I would even say women as well, a shortage of women, because if there are no women in the world, we just stop creating lives and that's it. So solidarity to the women out there. Shout out to you all.
Going deep here, mate.
I had to make up for last week. I felt I let myself down with the science question, so I'm making up for it this week.
I do love that kicked off though on Twitter.
What was that?
I love how that kicked off on Twitter in the end. People going into thermodynamics and testing and everything. Lovely stuff. Yeah, shortage of cans. We should be doing train cans soon, shouldn't we? Gutted about that we're not going to do train cans in May to Manchester.
Yeah.
Devastating. We'll get there eventually. Matt?
I'm going to tap out, I think. I don't think I can compete with what Paul said there. Yeah, nothing that deep for me. I was thinking about this yesterday, and I was split between coffee and box sets. So, coffees plays quite a large, important factor in our lives, because for the first 2 years of when we had James, then he didn't sleep. So we relied very, very heavily on coffee to get us through the day, get us through work, to function. I think we were one step down from racking up lines of Dow Egberts every now and again, because honest to God, coffee. If you put a needle in us, you just draw out caffeine. So yeah, and it's the same through lockdown as well. It's just been so depressing and shite that you have to keep yourself going. Couldn't go.
I like the product placement there, mate.
It is honestly.
Matt's just pulled up a Starbucks mug.
I can. It was lemon, it'd be a beer.
There's a lot to be said for the shortage of coffee, though, as well. To follow what Matt said there, like obviously, what I do every day, I've had to drink like a year's worth of coffee just to keep me awake, stop me falling asleep in the classroom, stop me falling asleep at the laptop. So I definitely go with coffee.
Honestly, it's a very, very underrated drink. And box sets, because it's funny because we talked about this in work the other day about box sets and what people are watching and stuff now, and it just shows the state of terrestrial television. The only thing we ever watch now is either Coronation Street, because Steve McDonald is a living legend, and the man's a genius, and Line of Duty, which is back on this week. So
tomorrow,
shout out to Owen Parks. Shout out to Owen Parks, big fan. So other than that, then you're just stuck with box sets, and that's what gets you through anything that's not football on TV. So I think I'm not a big reader, absolutely dreadful at reading. So box sets or coffee.
I just take ages to read anything. I'll get halfway through a book and then start another one. I've just got perpetually like half-read books all over the house. Just Dale, just on the teachers and the coffee thing. Did everyone else's like staff room at school when you were a kid used to stink of fags and coffee? Door open to be met with a wall of smoke and coffee fumes on you.
I vividly remember my primary school, when you walk past, you just smell like bifters and proper stench of coffee, and you were like, who's the smoker in the staff? Which teacher smokes? But now, like, genuinely, it probably just smells of coffee and whatever cakes are brought in and left on the staff room table. It's just mad, like, how much the staff room smells of ciggies.
Which teacher smokes? All of them, probably.
All of them, yeah.
We had a teacher called Mr. Knowles, and he smoked, and he used to roll his own cigarettes, and he clipped one, and he put it in his top pocket of his jacket, and it was still half lit, and his jacket caught fire. That's true to God. That is Colin Knowles, St Albans High School. That's the truth. Clipped it, and it was still lit, and it caught obviously a thread of his jacket, and his jacket started to smoke.
That's amazing.
A legend.
What's the worst thing you think there could be a shortage of, apart from like smoking teachers?
The one that come to my mind, I think coffee's a great shout. The one probably topical at the minute, and probably will become more prevalent in a couple of weeks, is going to be the shortage of outdoor space and tables outside. I was speaking with like a couple of the lads early on this week, because it's like one of my close friends, it's his birthday, like the back end of April. And then like there's a few of us that have said, right, we'll definitely go out on that Saturday, the 17th. And like it become apparent, like, do you know, when you're looking and like sort of Googling about pubs with outdoor space in town, there's not as many as you'd think that have got large, big, like there's the ones that you know of are all going to be absolutely heaving. And it does sort of mean you've got to proper think on, because I think, especially with how many are going to be doing bookings, I think this time round when it opens up, I think everywhere's going to be rammed. Because I know when it unlocked last time, the start of last summer, like round there and stuff, it was okay. Like, I don't know if it was because people were still a bit nervous, but I feel like now the mood is that everyone's just going to go out as soon as they can. And I think for that 5 weeks from the 12th of April to the 17th of May, I think it could be quite sort of precarious having to have something booked every single weekend, because there's only so many sort of decent outdoor places to go, isn't there?
Shenanigans would be a bit nicer at this time of year, wouldn't it? Last time we went.
I think slightly nicer than a week before Christmas in the piss and rain with no telly.
That was our big plan Matt. That was our big plan to go and watch the Arsenal game on the massive telly at a roof bar in town. We got there, it was knackered, so we ended up watching on 2 phones between
on a probably about 3.5 minute delay.
Oh Jesus!
Underneath like one shelter, wasn't it?
That's quicker than Amazon Prime then, Christ.
Yeah, some bloke doing terrible Brendan Rodgers impressions.
It was a good night though, on the Toffees one.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, we'll move on to question 2 then. Everton players at the ready. If you could talk to one animal, what would it be?
Aspen Bardson.
Shout.
Him?
Top goal for this one. It'd be able to speak to Rudy. He's 7 months now. He's at my mum and dad's today. But there's just every now and then he'll look at you and you can tell he's either judging you or thinking something. And more than anything, just be like, you know, we'll say to him, like, what is it? Because there's obviously something, and it's like, he'll give you a look and it's like, I know you're annoyed at something, but I've got absolutely no idea what it is. And it's like, it makes you feel guilty. And for that reason, I think I'd love to be able to chat to him.
I love how you're getting stared down by the dog.
Oh, Christ, yeah. I mean...
Is it when you're eating?
What'd you say?
Is it when you're eating stuff?
Yeah, like, in the main, like... I mean, we was only saying this last night, me and Georgia. When we have tea, like, it completely depends. Like, sometimes he's bothered and other times isn't. But, like, stereotypical though it is, if we're ever having sausages, like, it's not a stereotype, it's completely true. He goes off, it's off his tree. Like, that's the thing that seems to make him, no matter if he's had, like, the world's biggest bowl of kibble and, like, you know, to fill, like, about 3 buckets worth, if the sausages getting cooked, it's like he's wired, like, he just starts, like, doing laps of the room and stuff. But other times, if you're having stuff that's, like, that doesn't have much of a smell, he's not that bothered. I think it's just more like if we're watching something and, like, one of us laughs loudly, he looks at you and then he'll, like, sort of, like, give you eyes, and they've got them sort of eyes anyway, and then he'll just roll over and you feel like a tit, and it's like, the dog's just made me feel like a tit here. So yeah, I'd love to be able to chat to him.
Oh, the dog's looking at you going, it wasn't that funny.
It wasn't that funny, lad, yeah.
Good. Do you know what story this is from, by the way?
I have got absolutely no idea.
Yeah, it was sort of tucked away on the bottom pages of, like, the news websites, but apparently it's just been discovered that in the 19th century, hot topic, whales taught each other to avoid whalers' harpoons. Apparently, they used to speak to each other.
Whales,
yeah, sperm whales. So, like, yeah, I'll get on that, lad. There's a whaler over there. Something like that. I imagine that's how the conversation went anyway. Dales, what animal would you talk to?
Right, I looked at this with a Keith Tomlin head on my shoulders.
Oh, God. There we go.
3 possible scenarios here. For general conversation, Jack, I'm with Jack on the my family dog Rocco. I think I would love to know what's going on in his head, because whenever my mum or my dad or anyone eats, he's just there staring, and it's clear what he wants, but I just want to know what he's thinking. And when, like, you're shoveling the remnants of the food down your throat, I just want to know, like, is he thinking, "Oh, you horrible bastard," or is he like, I just want to know what's on his mind. So I'd go with that, or me for the same reason. Just, I think they just be on edge all the time because they're constantly, like, looking around. I just want to know what they're thinking. If I were out on the ale, and I'm going to send you a link, or we can put a picture up for the video on YouTube. The 6-plumed bird of paradise.
God, tell you what, if there's an animal you want to go on the ale with, it's that, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, for those who aren't aware of the 6-plumed bird of paradise, go on YouTube, type the name in, you are in for a treat. It just dances, throws all mad shapes, and you could just imagine going out for a belly with one of them. So yeah, shout out for the 6-plumed bird of paradise. And then at the end of the night, if I were to be confronted by anyone, if anyone wanted to start a fight, I would call upon the honey badger for backup. Honey badger, a very ferocious animal, eats snakes, just generally attacks any animal that's bigger than him and has no fear. Get him in the midfield to have it.
They are larry looking fuckers, them, aren't they?
They are.
terrifying.
I mean, you got such a nice name as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
all sorts of Winnie the Pooh vibes off that, aren't you?
Yeah.
That 6-plumed bird of paradise. You ever seen Matt Berry? Not Matt Barry. Matt Berry. Wild.
No,
No.
do you know what? It only came to my attention really because we were I was teaching the children about animals and habitats, and there was a clip of David Attenborough narrating, and I just watched the video clip, and it was just incredible, like the way it was moving its head and sharing. It was just magnificent creature, and I would bloody love a drink with it.
Definitely right. Look it up the video, right? So you know Matt Berry off what we do.
Toast to London.
And Toast to London, yeah. He basically does a voiceover of a wildlife program. So it's about 7 minutes long. So it's all like Attenborough footage with him doing Attenborough, but it's just about like male animals trying to get the nuts, right? And all the stupid things they do to get a mate. It's so funny, and he proper takes the piss out of that six-plume bird of paradise.
Would you say overall badgers are like the animal that you were lied to the most about as a kid? Because you think like Bodger and Badger and all, like there's probably loads more when they're in cartoons, and they look like they're absolutely lovely, and then every sort of remnant of them in real life, they're absolute just aggy, aren't they? Like they just seem to want to kick off all the time, and like all we got taught about them, like the late 90s, was to just love tanning porridge. So I think overall, I think that's the animal that we've probably least taught like.
Yeah. Yeah, the way they've been portrayed, you go up and probably like pet it if you could, and take it off and give you TB probably while it's there.
I'd also put bears in that category that Jack's just said as well.
Yeah.
Paddington bear, Yogi bear.
Yogi.
And then if you go into the wild and you see a bear, you're like, hey, lad.
Rip your face off.
Absolutely.
Looking like Chentosan. I can't find that Chentosan bear anywhere, by the way. Still tried and I wish I'd saved it.
We'll have to find her.
There is a bear knocking about that's the spit of Chentosan and probably twice as mobile at least.
I was going to say, get him up front.
Matt, what animal are you talking to?
Well, I was thinking about this, and there's two really. One philosophical and one very, very personal. I'd like to ask a shark if their feelings get hurt when people are just completely and utterly just try and avoid them, or are they actually nice and friendly and they just want to be friends with people, but the perception is they're horrible, nasty fuckers and they're going to eat you up. So, and they might be just, want to have a chat with somebody or looking for, a bit of friendship, but, people tend to think because of that Jaws film that they just want to eat people up, and, perhaps it's not a very fair perception of what they are. So there's that. And the second one is, I'd like to ask the pigeon in main stand 2, why does he always try and shit on me? So summer, winter, autumn, spring, the fucker always singles me out. So if I get to my seat, there's usually something waiting for me. Usually during the game at some point, I can feel something whiz past my fucking head, and I look down and it's either landed on my drink or on the pie, or sort of it even landed on the foot-long sausage hot dog at one point as well. So, everyone just seems to get missed by me. So I'd like to ask him, what have I done to offend him?
I can't imagine that would affect the taste of the rollover too much, though.
Oh, Christ.
Honestly, he just waits for me. Fucker.
It's hard not to take that personally, isn't it, as well?
It is. It honestly, and when you go to the game and you got a fucking packet of wet wipes with you, the steward looks at you quite odd, and what can you do? Because you know what's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Matt's going to be the first fella arrested for trying to smuggle an air rifle into a game, isn't he? I'll get you fucker.
Need to get the Goodison cat back.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Goodison cat best for the main stand pigeon.
It's horrible knowing that you go into the game and you get expected to get shit on by a pigeon. An horrible feeling.
Yeah. Just think that's how the Everton players feel every time you run out of that tunnel. To be honest.
For good reason sometimes.
I do wonder what Goodison cat was thinking though when Joel Robles went over to try and claim it, and it sort of pounced and backed away, didn't it? I'd love to know what was going through his mind.
Oh, fucking hell, size of him. He was a big lad then, wasn't he?
He was.
Oh yeah.
He was huge.
Yeah.
Nice fella. That met him in Amalia a few years ago.
Yeah.
Kath and I went out for our anniversary. Lovely fella, really nice lad.
I thought he was a decent keeper as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Doing all right now as well.
There's so many pictures of him up in that Amalia as well.
Yeah. There
A
is.
massive fan.
Where is he now?
Rail better.
Betis.
Yeah.
Betis.
Sound. Could do with them. Could do with them tonight, to be honest. What do you reckon? Virginia tonight? It's a big ask, that, isn't it?
Yeah. He's on a it's not really, isn't he? But like you said at the start of the goal before, Les, just go in. He's got nothing to lose.
No.
Everything's a gain, really, hasn't he? So good luck to him. I hope he does well tonight.
Is Olsen meant to be back next week? Well, we don't have a game next week, actually, do we?
It's international, isn't it?
No, not until 5th of April now.
Yeah. So after the international break,
yeah,
we're meant to have James is back, isn't he? And Pickford should be back then as well. So we should be getting somewhere near the first team. I saw the stat last night. I've not checked up on it, but I've got to take it at face value anyway.
Gauffin is back before Delph.
I was going to say the footballer formerly known as JP Gauffin.
So we've only had Alan, Decore, Dean, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison in the same team for
6 games. Yeah. Won 5 and drawn 1 as well.
I wonder how many of them were in like the first 10 games of the season, because it felt like them. Was it like West Brom, Brighton and all that when they were like back to back?
Yeah. It was the first 3 games we were unchanged, weren't we, I think?
Yeah.
And then I can't remember, somebody got injured then. I can't remember whether it was Richarlison got sent off in the derby then.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
And it changed then. Yeah.
Yeah. It's mad that though, isn't it? That we've only had all those players in 6 games. Well, there's no injury crisis at Everton.
No.
Absolutely.
Did you see the video last night where Gauffin was doing all the individual training and he falls over and you just think, don't. He's just hard sinks. He's just, Jesus Christ.
Where was the care music at that point?
What that reminded me of? Have you seen on Phoenix Nights where you get the Buck and Bronco and the other fella's on it to die?
Oh, yeah.
He's swinging around and he falls off. He's trying to go, oh shit, not another one.
And he jumps off.
I swear Gauffin has definitely Nordberg off Naked Gun. Definitely. Right, ask us anything. Laura has asked, on the talking animal subject, why does everyone act like it's totally normal that parrots can just talk? Like we don't acknowledge the fact they can talk. It's weird and confusing. Why don't other animals talk? Lots to unpack here. Why just parrots? I've spent many hours on parrot TikTok watching those little fuckers talk to their owners and no one bats an eye. Anyone got any thoughts on the freakiness of parrots or talking animals in general?
I had a budgie that spoke. It's not just parrots, is it? I think
minor birds can speak, can't they, as well?
What, sorry?
Minor birds.
Yeah, I think cockatiels and parakeets and stuff, but in the main part, but parrots, on the subject of aggy animals, George's mum's cousin had one years ago, and it was you see people that have them gloves when they've got hawks. Yeah. She had one for that because it used to fucking fly around giving it billy up. And one day she had a mate round, and the parrot was out the cage and was jumping from couch to couch and all that, and then it just something must have flipped and got the red mist, and it went for the woman's mate's face, and have you seen the episode of Always Sunny when he goes get his eyes and the bird goes for the eyes in the courtroom, and it basically they didn't do any serious damage, but superficial, just started scratching at her face, and I think they can be absolutely terrible because they're absolutely huge, aren't they? My budgie was okay, but it was just a bit boring. But in terms of them, so I don't know. I think big birds like that, I think they're a bit frightening, to be honest. I wouldn't be having a budgie. Parrot, sorry.
They got big talons as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Damage there, those beaks as well. Yeah, heavy birds.
But as for speaking, I don't know. It is bizarre that it's just like, oh, that's fine. It's like, well, is it?
It is funny,
I think that some houses where they may have like birds like that, and if you're out at work all day, you might leave the TV on, you might leave the radio on, and then it sort of trains itself to talk.
Yeah.
So it might be something to do with that. Some really obscure, and they start talking to loose women and getting all the other nonsense stuff that's on during the day.
It was just my luck that my parrot would start talking like Denise Welch.
Carol McGiffin.
Start singing, send them out.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Stacey Solomon, could you imagine?
That's the only thing I can think of really, is that its brain like just picks up and picks up on all these sounds around it, and just that's the only explanation I can give, because it is mad when you think about it. They're the only like types of animals that can talk. Yeah.
But do you think if dogs could talk though, they'd be like Brian from Family Guy?
That'd be. That's what I love to see. Like we were talking about before with Rocco, when you're eating like the last bit of your food, I just love to. I just want to know if he's thinking, mate, please, I'm here, feed me. You have me, you ignore me for 2 weeks. What's going on? I just
love to know, if dogs have accents as well. Do you know, like, if all dogs could speak, would they speak like? So Rudy's Dachshund, so would he have like a proper German twang, like speak like hair lip? Like, I don't know. I think it would be interesting to know. Or would they pick up like, would they have like a Wallacey twang now because he's lived there? But I got him from Blackpool, so would he speak a bit icky thump? I don't know. I think
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
My cat.
Penguins could talk,
What?
Penguins. I'd love to know if penguins could talk. I know we're going off the subject here because it's like, why do parrots talk? But I'd love to know what penguins would be like if they could talk, because I think there's a lot to be said for the penguins. They're a cool bunch.
Yeah, there's not much going on where they live though, is there?
No.
It's just
barren.
Probably just talking about those bastard whales, aren't they?
I think pigeons. Pigeons would talk like lids, wouldn't they? Like pigeons are horrible.
Yeah, pigeons.
And they're always in like fucking big gangs, aren't they?
If
like,
pigeons could spit, he'd spit on the pavement all the time.
They'd be like, "Oh, ends on that, lad. You finish with that bottle, lad." Like, like just literally pecking your head for things.
It would just be lad.
Who's there? You know that.
You know that.
No,
you go and see Adam Rowe.
Pigeons on Scout's Twitter. There's a crossover. Got to be the unfunniest comedian apart from perhaps Lee Hest. Possibly.
Paul Smith as well.
Yeah.
They're all shite, aren't they?
Yeah.
Shite.
There's a common denominator there as well.
My cat lets onto me all the time. So if he walks in and I say hello to him, he'll say something back every time. We go quite deep sometimes. He helps me work and everything. He's not here today though. He swerved me completely. So that's unusual. Bryan Inglis has asked, if any at all, which season featured your favourite Leighton Baines haircut / hairstyle man was 2013-14. Started with odd cut with a tasty sideburns and ended the season with a sort of Alex Turner inspired number. Showed versatility and quality. Mike Sullivan said, I'd say as Bradley Wiggins get up circa 2012-13. His profile pic is going to stay forever. So it's got a picture of Mike and Bainesy. And Paul, you actually asked this last time you were on, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
You asked your favourite Leighton Baines. Matt said he liked his current one. But I think it makes him look too much like early 2000s Julian Barrett.
Definitely does.
Could slot into the mighty boost there. Said Newcastle away, which was 2013-14 anyway. So that seems to be the consensus for Baines' haircuts. Any advance on that?
Do you know what? My favourite haircut was the one that he had for Newcastle away, but I think one of the best haircuts he's had, very underrated. The one he had when he slotted that penalty against United in the semi-final at Wembley, just like short backside, very like not like Baines now, but that was just a very sensible haircut for a very fine player.
You know, we can get away with a sensible haircut in the way that Burnley players can't.
Yeah.
So why Burnley players all look like they've just kicked out of boot camp. Definitely come from some side.
You'd get nowhere near the Leeds team with an head like that either.
There's the title, sure.
Manban FC. Nah.
Matt, can you tell us exactly how starstruck you got when you met Leighton Baines?
Oh, I was in a mess. I was completely and utterly in a mess. And how old would Flynn would have been? You'd been 10 or 11, I think, then when we met him. And we're just in the car park, and this black Audi RS7 pulled up. It's a beautiful car, and so we just like look at the car, and all of a sudden the door opens. And it's a big car, and this little diminutive figure gets out, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, it's Leighton Baines. And he's going, "Oh, let's go and ask for a photo, Dad." And I was like, "Go on then." And he said, "No, you go and ask him if I can have one." "No, I can't. And it was like frozen to the spot. And off he wanders, as confident as you like. And I was so proud of him. "Hello, Mr. Baines. Please, could I have a photograph?" And he was like, "Yeah, get it in, get it." And then we just took the photo, and he was lovely. And give me the phone back. He walked off into the main reception, and we were just stood in the car park. I was like, "Oh my God, that just happened." I was amazed. I was completely and utterly, I was starstruck. I remember we went to one of those Beat the Players events. I think it was 98 or 99. Paul Gascoigne was still with us, I remember. So we had the dinner, and you met the players afterwards, and it was Gascoigne, Ferguson, Kevin Campbell, Nicholas. It must be 98. Nicholas Alexanderson was there, and sort of fine meeting all those, shake hands, and do the autographs and so on. And then as we were leaving, Duncan Ferguson was outside, and I sort of went up to him and said, "Hello, Mr. Ferguson. How are you?" Just completely crumbled, completely and utterly crumbled. For somebody who talks for a living, when meeting people like that, it was just like, oh my God, I just went to absolute bits. But he was lovely. What a wonderful, wonderful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
He's absolutely massive, Ferguson, though, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've only met him once. It was at the St. George's Hall, when Howard's Way got shown.
Yeah.
I used to blag a ticket for that, and there's a picture of me. I've got a picture with Duncan Ferguson. It's like, right, 90s kid made up with this. This is the picture you want. And I'm stood there and I'm looking up at him, a bit like Jimmy Bullard when he plays for. Absolutely terrified. Yeah, he's huge. I mean, I'm not exactly big, but he is massive. He must have been horrible to play against. Absolutely horrible. Jack, have you got any advance on a Baines haircut?
I quite liked him. I've just been having a look now. I don't remember when we signed him that he had a skinner.
I think when we signed him, it was about 2006, wasn't it? I think classic mid-2000s, sort of short side, spiky on top, and a bit of a mullet.
Yeah, so I think I quite liked when he had the really, really long hair, just because we did sucker for a long-haired left-back. Pistone, Valente, and it was nice to have one that was actually good at footy. But other than that, I don't think you can go far wrong with the latter part of 13, 14. When it was around the time we were on that good, the Brum that we went on was Boss, and he had it properly slicked back. Also that one. When he had it quite long and just messy.
That's a movie star, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think overall he's probably one of the, but that's probably my favourite. I think overall he's probably had the best hair of certainly Premier League era. I think there's not many that are. Gomez is probably up there now, but obviously, I can't think of many better than Baines, to be honest.
He's magnificent on every level, isn't he?
There was one where he met where he was with Miles Kane and Alex Turner and a few lads from the Arctic Monkeys. That one there, that's a sensible lad.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Never seen that. He really doesn't look out of place.
He doesn't.
So,
because whenever you see the Leighton Baines with Miles Kane, I always think of when he's got Miles Kane's got that Union Jack.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, mate.
The haircut with the two West Ham free kicks was sort of semi-short back and sideish, but he had the sideburns, which were quite long. That was a class look.
Yeah.
But I just always remember that the Newcastle free kick where he just smashes it and he just runs towards the corner flag and he got his arm up and you get that sort of side profile picture of him, and it just looks. It's just you can make a statue of it. It's just like
it's weird. It's one of them people that looks good playing footy.
Yeah.
Like
but not in a Mikel Arteta sort of way where his hair doesn't move. He looks like he's playing the game and still looks.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Like some it's like we've got plenty that look awful when they play, but like can still, because I think like can still be effective. But I think with him, he just looked classy, didn't he?
Yeah. Moving on to another classy player. He could be, we don't know. And I've seen him play as well. Don't know much about him, you know where we're going. I'm just going to share my screen. Sorry for anyone listening to this on the podcast. Sorry for anyone watching as well, because this is definitely going to go wrong. There you go. Can you see my screen? No.
Not at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
So, for anyone listening, it's a picture of Gauffin with 2 thumbs up and a water bottle in one hand. And Foxy's asked, caption this, wrong answers only. I don't actually think there's a right answer to this, to be honest. But anyone want to go first?
I am alive and well. My captors are treating me.
That's a more feasible explanation than he's been injured for this whole time, isn't it? Definitely. Marty, got on it?
Well, I initially said, "Who am I and where am I?" But I'm just pleased. I'm just pleased he's back on the grass. I think we're as pleased. I think we're more pleased for him than he is for himself. I think.
Yeah, as you said, though, that picture when he fell over.
Just died.
Yeah, like what now? Didn't he do his leg on a tennis ball? Or is that just a rumour? He did, didn't he?
Didn't Joyce tweet that? I'm sure he tweeted tennis ball, and we all went, Jesus Christ. Another one.
Yeah, he must have got the monkey's bollocks off James Vaughan when he went in the dressing room, mustn't he? Jack?
3 for 50 or Hayes Dare, lad, I think. That hair is absolutely tremendous as well. Like, when I seen that picture, I did actually think, like, that is Gauffin, isn't it? Because all I could think of was when we signed him. Was it like, did we see him for, was it like an hour and 10 minutes with he's played? Was it a full half?
Yeah, the second half against Palace and the full game against Watford.
So it's like, what? Yeah, so it's like, what's that, 2 hours basically?
Yeah.
And when I seen that picture, I was like, no. And I was honestly thinking, it's like sometimes you see them training photos and people will be like, who's this? And you can't tell. I was genuinely like, is that Gauffin? What does Gauffin actually look like? And then I had to go and search just to make sure I wasn't going to be like, that's not Gauffin.
He does look a big lad, doesn't he?
Yeah, I bet the Everton admin was absolutely buzzing for weeks and weeks and weeks when he's been tweeting training photos and everyone's been saying, show us Gauffin. I bet he's had that. Right, you fuckers. Today's the day.
Or the Bernie Sanders meme. I am once again asking for Jean-Philippe.
I did message Mike the Asher. I was just like, yes, when he said it, because he put the Bernie Sanders picture on.
I do like the idea that the Everton admin have been waiting for ages to put this picture up, and then everyone's like Jack and goes, is that Gauffin? It's not even him, though. Yeah.
Was that when he played against that game against Palace? I might have this wrong. Were we not in the season before's kit?
Yeah, because the kit wasn't out.
I think that's another thing why it's confused me. Because when I was Googling, looking at pictures, I was like, is that a training top? Why has he got that top on? And when you're sort of looking and you're confusing yourself.
Yeah, because we only had the blue and the pink kit, didn't we?
Absolutely amazing. Of course we did.
Eek Everton and Umbro, that wasn't it? Amazing. Has anyone heard about the socks with Hummel? Have you run out this season, or have you been all right with them? I haven't heard of any complaints really. I saw someone last week that a badge has fallen off the kit, but even that sort of died down, hasn't it?
Compo face on the echo.
I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Hummel.
That's a cracking plot, both ways, Paul.
So yeah, I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Hummel. So the travel wear, so you got like the black tracksuit, which is really nice. So I got the tracksuit up, but you can't get the hoodie anywhere. The black hoodie with the blacked out badges and the chevrons on the side. You can only get it. Yeah, you can only get the kid sizes, which is a disgrace. And then I emailed fan services, and they just went, yeah, it ain't happening. But also
appreciate your honesty, but doesn't help.
Oh, I put
right
back in
the straight path. Yeah.
I'd say right back in my box. If I money here, take it. No, we don't want any money.
Can you have Gabbamans?
Yeah, I've got it. And the second thing is, it seems that every club that Hummel make a kit for or training wear for have gilets, and Everton haven't.
Wow.
Aston Villa, haven't they?
Yeah, I'd have one in every colour.
Aston Villa.
No, don't my money.
Villa definitely do.
Yeah. What's his name? The grumpy old fucker Warnock. He had one on the other day with Middlesbrough. So yeah, nothing.
Maybe Ancelotti's sort of at the heart of all this, and it's like, will you wear this? He's like, no.
Yeah, not touching that.
No. I like the way he doesn't wear anything from the club shop apart from that one appearance in the coat that looks like Tony Bellew's robe. Weird, wasn't it, that jacket?
Oh,
yeah.
I love the
sponsored by Bellew.
I was thinking, actually, would the Goodison Pigeon be the Goodison Cat be a better scrap than the Bellew or Goodison? Hope he doesn't listen.
I carry power.
We'll move on. Go on. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. Back on Ancelotti's coat, the black one he wears. Huge fan of that. He just reminds me of like a Jedi.
Has anyone sourced
that? The one with the massive hood?
Yeah. And he's just like all the time, just his facial expression just doesn't change.
Does anyone know where it's from? I haven't been able to find it.
No, anywhere. I think overall, I do think we've had some very, very decent dressed and decent coat wearing managers, haven't we?
Yeah.
And Sam Allardyce.
Apart from that, just told you.
That picture of Sam Allardyce, Duncan Ferguson, and Sammy Lee in the Trackies.
Oh God Almighty!
Unbelievable.
I think we've upset Jack.
Well, yeah, we have. Jack's gone, by the way. Move on to this one. Mark Ellison has asked Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, or Tom Davis, and it can be for football or any other reason. I was gonna do a bit of a shag, marry, avoid on this and say brother Bezzy Bevy. If anyone wants to join in that.
Oh, go on.
So you got Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, and Tom Davis. Who you having as your brother, who you having as your best mate, and who you just going for a job with? Matt, come to you first.
I would have Tom Davis as my brother, because I think he's quite a interesting yet inoffensive character. I don't think he'd get in your way or do your head in. So, and he'd probably have some stuff in his wardrobe that when he's not there, you might go and rob and wear for an evening and he wouldn't even know. And he'd probably have some decent games for his console. So you just go in and rob them out of his room.
You being his big brother then?
Yeah, I think so.
You can just pull rank on everything.
I think so.
I guess that's traffic.
Bevy, I think Peter Reid for obvious drinking related stories over his career. Even now, every picture on Twitter, he seems to be having a drink in his hand, top man. And he's probably an astonishingly good night out as well.
Yeah.
He would be an absolutely amazing night out. Which leaves Bracewell then, who seems to be sort of a fairly unassuming character, but I think he's probably a bit of a deep thinker as well. You ever hear him, any interviews you ever heard with him, or even when he was playing, he was just a really good character, a deep thinker. And you probably think you start talking to him, and 3 or 4 hours later, you'd realise that you're still talking to him.
How long do you reckon it'd take for him to jib you off as his best mate after you turned up every time you see him with the same haircut? Start finding that a bit weird, wouldn't he? Definitely.
I do think though that the clincher over all of them would have been Peter Reid's high tech boots, because they were cutting edge in the 80s.
You were.
High Tech Napoli were the one down from Puma Kings.
Yeah, they were good. Yeah, you could get away with High Tech in the 80s, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Not Silver Shadow. I don't think anyone's been able to ever get away with them.
No, your mum had Silver Shadows. You could wear them.
PE teacher the juniors had Silver Shadow. Actually, our PE teacher the juniors used to wear New Balance, and it was like literally New Balance had just come out and no one knew what it was. He'd head to toe with New Balance, and then suddenly it was everywhere. Never had him down as an innovator, but clearly was.
Here we are. Yeah, I think my PE teacher had mitre boots. Remember, was it Gary Neville at one point wore mitre boots? I'm pretty sure. Or was it mitre or Deodora?
Deodora.
With just like
Deodora.
Black, all black with just like a yellow, and the only player I don't know if Roy Keane wore them for a bit, but was Gary Neville had them for like a good couple of years.
All the Italian players used to wear Deodora, didn't they?
Yeah,
and Lotto as well. Some Lotto made some awesome boots.
Lotto boots with the ones with no laces.
Yeah, beautiful.
Gone on to boot chat again. I'm all over this. Mizuno boots were class as well. I had a pair of Mizuno in the 90s.
Oh,
boots. Jack, what your brother, best mate, going for a bevy? Peter Reid, Paul Bracewell, Tom Davis.
I think brother. I think I'd say older brother. I'd like to have Paul Bracewell. I just think he seems to epitomise cool. I reckon he's got a lot of nice threads, immaculate hair. And he just seems like he'd be a very, very good figure to have. I'm an only child. I just think he seems like a pretty good cat to have as an older brother. I think best mate, I think not too many years between us. I think Tom, he seems to stand for all the things that, don't need me to go over it again, but he stands for everything that's right. I think he seems to have a really down to earth sense of humour. I think he'd fit in well with the group, to be honest.
Get him in the chat.
And then Bevy, it'd have to be Peter Reid. I think I know my uncle's been on a night out with him once at one of the might have been Aintree races and said he's just an absolute gent. But also, I just want to sit down for at least an hour and ask him about when he had got the Thailand job. I think it's something that often gets overlooked, and I would just be I don't even know if he'd done it for a year. I'm not sure, but just you'd want to know how, why, was it any the whole things you'd want to ask that you'd probably only ask over a beer. I think that would be the first point of call. That's before you even get onto his playing days. I'd just love to know all about that.
Yeah, that's a shout. That a shout. Dales, what you going with?
I would go with. I was thinking of my younger brother, and better I say younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. I would go with Tom Davis as a younger brother, just because, like my younger brother, he's done a lot in his life to be really proud of. I mean, the things he does with the homeless, and even on the Evan Smith account, the video they lashed up the other day of him talking to people on Zoom and working with the kids. I just thought he's a cracking lad, and yeah, he's come on as a footballer, but as a person, I don't think that's ever changed. He's like a free spirit. He expresses himself, and I can fully get on board with that. And he will probably, like my brother, I would say he'd be a younger brother I'd be really proud to have, to be honest. So say Tom for the brother. Going for a bevy with Paul Bracewell, because I think years ago probably would have been Peter Reid, and we would have went mad and got on a mad one, ended up in Pot World, Crazy House, whatever. Now I'm 31. I would probably go for a quiet drink in a pub with Paul Bracewell and just go over his career, talk about what's happened in the past. He was obviously before my time, but my dad keeps on telling me he had a really bad injury and it changed him as a player. But before that, he was just this magnificent footballer. So with that, we mentioned before, he might be a sort of a deep thinker. I'd just want to unpick his brains and just chat with him about his football career and life in general. Best mate, I know there's a difference in age, but how can you not have Peter Reid as your best mate? You just imagine him in the group chat. Like, he loves Everton, can't stand the Reds, and he just hates the Tories as well. Called Boris Johnson out to his face. So how could you? And with him being your best mate, you can go for a bevy with him anytime.
True. Yeah, ticks every box really, doesn't he?
Skills.
Yeah.
I think Bracewell, didn't he get done by some dog of a player up at Newcastle? I was initially thinking it was Marvel, but that was Itchy, wasn't it? Aidan Heath got done by Brian Marvel and Peter.
Yeah, Billy Whitehurst, I think it was. Billy Whitehurst, I think it was.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Absolute thug of a player.
Yeah.
Proper did him. But yeah, he was.
But he didn't.
He had
didn't come back.
He had the range of passing. He had like, he was aggressive. He had everything. Such a good.
And the hair.
Definitely had the hair. Always had the hair. Right. Actually, I've got to say about when I spoke to Peter Reid, and it was amazing. When I got to interview him for the Blue Room, and it was one of the best 10 minutes of my life. It was great to just sit down and talk to him about stuff. And these players, when they do stuff like that, they've obviously heard and told these stories time and time again. And I think I tried to ask him something a little bit different, or go a bit different. I probably didn't succeed in that. But when he speaks to you, it's like it's the first time he's ever told anyone about whatever you're asking. And it's just an absolutely cracking fella. Last one here, last question. Mike's asked, what pub, restaurant, food, drink, or anything else do people think is something special and you think is average at best? And if anything, just not very good? By the way, I think Mike might be getting the steak a bit wrong here.
Yeah.
He thought it well done.
Yeah. I think, I'll be honest, got no problem admitting this. Before I met my wife, I used to have my steak well done. And it's only until I started having it medium rare that I truly appreciated what a wonderful meal a steak is. So I can't have any criticism of steak. It's not overrated. It's just, it is what it is. It's a quality piece of meat.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
What you going with then? What you reckon is overrated?
I have a few.
Go ahead.
But I will sum up and give a main one. I think Nando's, as a general rule, I mean, it's good chicken. It's not great, and back in the good old days when you used to have like queues outside Liverpool one, I just used to go past and can behave. Really, come on, it's not that good. I would much rather have a KFC or, dare I say it, an Absies. An avocado was mentioned in the group chat with one of my mates. Now, with guacamole, with Mexican food, I don't mind that. But when you're putting it on your toast, I think you need to have a word with yourself. I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. But the main food I've got a gripe with seems to be popular, but I just don't understand why. Apologies if I upset anyone in the group. Sushi. I just don't understand it. I tried it once. We had I think it was like an Asian Heritage Day in school, and one of the kids bought sushi and we tried it as a class, and never again. I just don't like the taste of it at all. And I've tried it since then, and I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Fair enough. It's game
can't happen,
isn't it? Matt?
Just following on from sushi, really, but all fish in general. Just can't stand the sight of it, can't stand the smell of it, can't stand the thought of eating it. Just completely wrong from a small child. Just looking at it, absolutely awful.
Just leave it
absolutely awful. It's just dreadful, absolutely dreadful. If we go out for a family meal, when we used to be able to do things like that, my mother or father-in-law would always have fish, and I just had to sit down the opposite end of the table for him, and just completely and utterly no, absolutely not.
Does that extend to fish from the chippy? That's not like having fish. That's chippy.
Yeah, anything.
Some people I work with that are like hate fish but would have fish and chips from the chippy.
Yeah.
Or like
we went
have a tuna boy.
We went. My brother-in-law got married in Sorrento, and so the hotel we were staying at, it was a beautiful hotel, and next to it there was this lovely little rustic Italian restaurant, you know, proper family restaurant, and every day you'd see the catch coming in from the harbour, and all the fresh fish would come up and they deliver it to all the restaurants. And this one in particular had this big bay window, and they would put the fish that were caught on the day, they would put them in the window. And I'll always remember they had this, I think it was called the red snapper or something like that. Oh, it was the most evil looking thing in the fucking world. It was horrible. It was horrible. And every time we'd walk past that window that day, it just, his eyes would follow me. It was, disgusting, horrible thing. Absolutely horrible thought of it, the look of it. No, fish.
And it's red.
The world would be better without fish.
Fair enough. I said it's all a game of opinions. Jack?
Overrated. I don't know how rated this is, but for me, it's something I've never understood. And it's more of a genre than a specific one, would be Drinking by Goodison. I just find the whole experience of trying to get served a decent pint, find space, everything to do with it. I'm not against it every so often. Like, if there's been after a big win and you just want to find the nearest boozer, I get that. But as for, like, do you know, weekly routine, fortnightly routines, or meeting for a beer format, I don't enjoy anything. The plastic cups, they're struggling to get served, they're getting pushed wherever you stand. And then, especially with, even more so with that nonsense naming no pubs that got put up the other day, like, that to me now is like, that was the final nail in an already closed coffin. Like, I've got absolutely no interest. And it's not that the bad pubs in their own right, but I just find that whole experience, like, it's once in a blue moon. I enjoy it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's some of the pubs are dead sketchy as well.
Oh, and that, yeah.
So there's that, like, I think the overrated thing for me is spaghetti bolognese, which is I don't mind it, but I'll never order it out in a restaurant.
It's a midweek tea, that, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, mate, absolutely.
Something you can do better at home, to be honest.
Yeah.
Lasagna as well. Just saying.
Yeah.
I put lasagna.
Yeah, never ever order it out.
No, cold lasagna is elite, though, definitely. Right, that is it for this week. Ended on a nice bit of food chat as it approaches midday. Lovely stuff. Cheers to Jack. Cheers to Paul. Cheers to Matt. Thanks to everyone who sent questions in. We will catch you next time on Mailbag.